host of the Gridiron.
Welcome to the Gridiron, baby, and happy 4th of July to everybody. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. Yes. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose? It's totally free of charge. But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, description box below, very top link, takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So once again, if you want to help support my channel, that would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. And then finally, just underneath that, there's another link in there somewhere. It takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,800 members in the group. We're so close to 10,000 members. And it's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I got internet access, I am putting stuff in this group during that 365. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, boy. Some things just, it's it is really just unbelievable. Once again, happy 4th of July, everybody. Happy. I hope you had off like I did today. It was a beautiful day outside, absolutely marvelous day. So happy 4th of July to everybody. So, but some things just, I tell you what, they just sometimes just cease to amaze me. I mean, the guys like, unless, I don't know. He just didn't want to play for the Giants. I have no idea. I don't know. He's. I know that the guy obviously, and hopefully everything just stays the course. Apparently, the way he's going, with Darren Waller, apparently because substance abuse and alcohol. Hopefully, he's still staying free and clear of that stuff. Let's wish him nothing but the best, because that's not a road you want to go down. There's no winning in that. With the substance abuse and the alcohol, there's no winning. There's nothing good that's going to come from any of that crap. So let's hope, for his sake, that he's still staying clear of all that stuff and everything. But I don't know. I mean, one respect, Giants actually got something out of it. Now, obviously it was something really small. Now, if he had played last season, right, and then the Giants traded him away, I'm sure they would have got more. Because basically they're getting a 6th, but they're giving away a 7th. So it's like they're not really picking up a whole heck of a lot. If the Giants are picking early, right? You can almost look like it's all. I don't want to say it's almost a wash. Don't want to say that, but just say the Dolphins wind up doing okay. Say they sneak into the playoffs. They got pick number 22. Say the Giants stink. Be shocker there, right? And we say we're picking 10th again, or 10th. Just say, right? Means the Giants had the 22nd pick in round 6, unless the Dolphins had a different, 6th round pick or something to say whatever. I don't know. The Giants would be picking, say, 22nd in the 6th round, and then the Dolphins would be picking 10th in the 7th round. So it's like it is what it is. But you'd be picking up like 18 spots, maybe 20 spots. It's, So, although, it's like, basically he was on the shelf. He was retired. So the Giants picked up a little something. Now we got 2 6th round picks. So I guess it's better than nothing. But the guy is now Miami's problem. Okay. I hope. It says it in the article. I can't, because to try to keep up on all 32 teams, who's on what team, who got traded, who got cut, who got signed. I don't have the time. I don't have the. Some people do. God bless you. I don't have the time for that. So, but it says in this article they had just I think they either traded a tight end or they released one. I think it might have been traded. So, I mean, I hope the guy they traded, it wasn't really good because I mean, you're getting a guy, and he has injury problems too. Now, and according to the stuff I was reading, right, from last year, kind of some of it makes sense. Once again, this is the stuff I was reading, right, with his hamstrings, pretty much. He has some type of like nerve damage or something, according to the articles I was reading. And it's one hamstring or both of them or whatever it is. And it's apparently something like it's just not going to go away, from what I was reading. Okay. So the possibility with some type of hamstring issues might always be there with him. Okay. So now he missed a chunk of time with the Giants and it was like 5 games, pretty much like in the middle of the season. He played like 7-8 games and he missed like 4-5 games or so. Then he finished up playing the last 4 or 5 weeks or so. Okay. Might be the same thing with the Dolphins. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I said, I hope the guy that I think that they traded away was not like some up and coming young star or something like that. I mean, because they're giving away somebody who could be around for a while, and they're bringing in somebody who could certainly, without question, make an impact and all that and everything. But, is he going to want to play? I mean, is he going to be down there? Oh, it's so hot here. What the fuck? Do it. What am I doing? It's like, so, unless he just, also to be fair to him, right? He got traded here. I don't think he went into the front office of the Raiders knocking on the door. Hey, I want out of here. Send me to a really crappy team. Right? Send me where it's cold and they stink. Right? Okay. So, and while he was here, okay, he seemed like nothing for the most part, nothing but a model, right, player. Seemed to say the right things and all that. Didn't cause any problems at all. It'll be interesting to see. You don't know what, like as far as his injuries will be. It'd be interesting to see if he has any problems when he's with the Dolphins as far as hamstrings at all, because he did miss some time here. Now the thing is with a hamstring, it's not like a broken bone, right? You go in, you're holding your wrist or something like that, and they take an X-ray, put it up. Oh yeah, it's broken. Oh yeah. You're, hamstring. It's my hand. They're not taking that. Oh yeah, we can see that. It's if he says there's some stiffness in there or something like that, right? Yeah, they hold you out, right? So, but also his contract with the Dolphins can be worth up to $5,000. I'm a freaking idiot. Let's try that again. Also, his contract with the Dolphins can be worth up to $5 million. There you go. I got the right dollar amount out that time. So, it's like, it depends upon how many catches he has, how many snaps he plays. So it'd be interesting to see if maybe some of those hamstring injuries aren't quite there. Because he was, pretty much like kind of guaranteed some certain amount of money with the Giants. Now he retired and the Giants still owe money. He's close to work like it's like 4.7 or 4.8 million in dead cap money this year, but at least after the season's over with, next year hopefully will benefit in the draft, right? By the swaps, the pick swaps that we got with the Dolphins, and his contract will be poof. No mas, just like the Daniel Jones contract will be. Poof, no mas, right? So it's going to be interesting to see, if he winds up playing a lot. But he was just, I don't know. He was just at the Buffalo game. Said that they were, I guess, we're getting down toward the goal line or whatever it was, and he was like in the fullback, but it was maybe in the backfield, maybe blocking or something, which he did a lot of that in college. Right. He did a lot of blocking in college. And so he had to block a couple times, like maybe some type of fullback, position, and then he got on the sideline. It's like, what the good is this? It's called football, dude. So I don't know. I guess he thought he was, I don't know. He's not supposed to block. I don't know. So, but once again, he's now Miami's problem. So, but, also you can also look at it too, right? If Darren Waller wasn't threatening to retire, blah, 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 maybe we wouldn't have drafted Theo Johnson. Right now, I'm not saying Theo Johnson's going to be able to replace Waller as far as his, the couple of seasons Waller had was, he had like almost 200 receptions. I think it says in this article, a couple articles I'm going to read here, 200 receptions back-to-back year. Combined in back-to-back years, he had like 12 touchdowns, but he had like, well over 1,000 yards receiving each season. So he had 2 really, really good seasons. So, but once again, now he's the Dolphins' problem. So, all right. So, a good old. But the Giants earned a solid grade after trading Darren Waller to the Dolphins. So basically, they got, they moved up in the draft a little bit, right, for basically a dead commodity. Somebody who wasn't playing for the Giants, he wants to come out, so the Giants wind up getting a little better of a draft pick. So, right. But a shocking development. Of course, this was a few days ago, though, too. Giants parted ways with a player they never thought they'd see again. Attempting a comeback after suddenly retiring last season, former Giants tight end Darren Waller received enough interest to generate a trade with the Dolphins. Giants gave up Waller and a 2027 7th-round pick in exchange for a 2026 conditional 6th-round pick. So, like if he only plays one game, I'm sure we're not getting the 6th-round pick. I don't know if how it works out. What the conditions are, but even though this is essentially a late pick swap, Giants are getting something for a player who already was on the retired list. When looking at grading each side of the deal, ESPN's Seth Walder gave the Giants a solid B grade. This was just a very late round pick swap and a deal worth up to $5 million. So we'll see what the real money ends up being, but it will likely be lower than that. For the Giants, this is found money under the couch cushion. It's not much, but it's better than nothing, which is true. Absolutely true. It's a bit peculiar that the Dolphins received a slightly better grade in the trade, despite the fact that they're acquiring a player who retired to pursue a rapping career. There's no doubt Waller was once one of the most dynamic receiving threats in the tight end position across the entire NFL, but those days are far behind him. In his only season with the Giants, Waller recorded 52 receptions for 552 yards and 1 touchdown. Now, he only played, I think, in 12 games. So basically, he had 4 receptions a game. So if he played the whole season, he would have had 65 to 70 receptions, which, he would have had, he would have had, 65 to 70 receptions. He was averaging 10 yards a reception. So he would have had 650, 700 yards receiving. So, hey. All right. But after trading away Jonnu Smith, they traded away Jonnu Smith. So let's hope, for the Dolphins' sake, that Jonnu is not a young, up-and-coming superstar. Because if they traded that dude away, if Waller only plays one season, basically they just traded away some guy for almost nothing. But the Dolphins certainly needed to add to the tight end room. While it's difficult to fault the Giants for trading away a player they deem retired. And then we got, and this one here too, is Giants trading Darren Waller to the Dolphins after shock return from retirement. It's like, from the Giants' perspective, the less said about their trade for Darren Waller, the better. With the talented, troubled tight end seemingly retired, I figured that chapter was over and done with for the Giants. Lo and behold, there was a final move for the Giants with Waller. They traded him on Tuesday to the Dolphins. The Post confirmed, along with a conditional 2027 7th-round pick, in return the Giants get a 2026 6th-round pick. So their pick So actually, they're trading away their seventh round conditional or whatever in 2 drafts from now. The 6th round pick, if they get it, is going to be next year's draft. All right. Waller, now suddenly no longer retired, received a 1-year contract from the Dolphins worth up to $5 million. He turns 33 in September. Last June, Waller announced he was leaving football after 8 years in the NFL, saying the passion has slowly been fading. Sure. He was going through a divorce with Kelsey Plum. I mean, it's like, it just, you can just see some people, as I said, once again, and I certainly don't want to make fun of anybody with, substance abuse or alcohol. I said, I wish him and everybody who has ever had a problem with that, nothing but the best going forward. I hope he never looks at another bottle of alcohol or even comes within a country mile of another substance, any type of drug, ever again, right? But, I mean, it's like, and he's married to Kelsey Plum, for about 42 minutes, and then they get divorced and they split up, and within like 42 seconds after they split up or whatever, he's putting out a rap song about how she stabbed him in the back, and he's walking on the beach, and then he falls over and he lands on the beach in the ground, and apparently there's like a knife sticking in his back. I can't remember if he's bleeding out of his mouth. I don't know. But it's like, dude, it's like, what's wrong with you? I mean, it's like, that's what, I mean, it's, no, there's some problems there. Really, I mean, it's like he's sitting on the sideline. He had to block a couple plays. Hey, dude, what is this? Are you kidding me? I'm blocking. Come on. I'm out of here. I'm retired. And he retires. I want to come. I mean, what is wrong with you, man? So, whatever. Once again, he's the Dolphins. So he went through the divorce with Kelsey Plum and indicated he was going to continue to pursue a music career as a rapper. This came as a little surprise to those who observed his lackluster one and only season with the Giants. Waller was acquired from the Raiders for a 3rd-round draft pick, with the Giants hoping the former Pro Bowler could add some juice to their passing attack. Giants were aware that Waller was injury-prone with hamstring issues. It was well known that he had overcome drug problems early in his career. He spent his first 2 NFL seasons with the Ravens and then was suspended the first 4 games of 2016 and the entire 2017 season for violating the league's substance abuse policy. In 12 games with the Giants, Waller was a shell of his former self. He caught 52 passes, 5. Well, I mean, yeah, but some of it, maybe it was a little bit of a shell, but I mean, it's like, what was he playing with? Right? I mean, we did have Saquon, right? But we didn't have no Malik. There wasn't, who was throwing him the football, right? Our offensive line stunk. Who were the other wide receivers around him? So he didn't have a lot to go with, Now, if he was still playing with the Giants and we had Malik Nabers out there and we had Saquon Barkley in the backfield, he might be a heck of a lot more scarier, right? So, especially if we can get him to go down deep and Russell Wilson throw something deep to him, right? He was missing time with yet another hamstring injury. After that season, Waller revealed that he experienced a very scary and serious medical issue that hospitalized him for nearly 4 days in November. Waller's retirement at the time saved the Giants $11.6 million on their salary cap. For 2 seasons, 2019, 2020, Waller was a star tight end with the Raiders. 197 receptions, 2,311 yards receiving, and 12 touchdowns in those 2 seasons combined. Dolphins on Monday night traded tight end Jonnu Smith to the Steelers, opening a spot for Waller. So, I mean, it's once again, I wish the guy nothing but the best. I said, especially such alcohol, drugs, whatever, I hope he never sniffs or looks at any ever again, and anybody, whatever. I mean, that's not an avenue you want to go down. It never ends good. So, wish the guy nothing but the best, but after this season's over, Waller will totally be gone because his contract will be poof off the books. So Wait a minute. I seen that on Facebook I thought it was a joke. I really thought it was a joke. I scroll on like Facebook and all that, and Giants trade Darren Waller. Yeah, that's a good one. Who do they trade next? Lawrence Taylor? I mean, I'm like, yeah. Then I seen it like 2 other times, and I seen one at the top said, yeah, it was from hey, I'm Shefty. I'm Adam Schefter. So it said from Adam Schefter, Giants trade Darren Waller. I'm like, what the? At least the Giants, right? We're not facing them, right? We're not facing them, so right. So that's a good thing, right? But the tight end problems that the Giants, had with Waller and all that leads me to my next point here. This is one key stat that the Giants must improve upon, and it's they, certainly next year, without question, they have to sit back, obviously, and look at what they got with their offensive line, right? If they're going to do anything at all in the running back department, right? And as far as like in a draft that they want to grab somebody else or something, I mean, if they're going to let go Singletary or something like that, they got Tracy, they got, they can pick once again. They can pick a later round. They can take a running back with that 6th round pick that they got from the Dolphins, right? I mean, especially if he's only going to be like the 3rd running back, right? So we got Dart, okay. Hopefully going for the future because we're really not going to know. Even if he winds up playing, say we start. I hope this don't happen. My God, I hope this don't happen. That we start say 0-9, right? I know I'm crazy. Dart's going in there, right? So, and if he plays the final 8 games, I mean, there's really nothing. I mean, because you can see the same thing with Eli. We started off 0-6 with Eli. We finally won the last game of the season against a crappy Cowboy team, and we were at home, right? So, I mean, but those were valuable reps for Eli. Well, I said same thing here, even with Dart, right? Even if he gets in there, plays a bunch of snaps, it's not like, he's a bust. No, we don't know that. So we know next year we still got Dart, right? We got running backs, we got a quarterback. So what we got to do is we have to sit back. We need a weapon. We need another weapon. I love me some Wandale. I hope we bring him back. I love me Darius Slayton. 10 ways to Tuesday. You can be on my team anytime. Love the guy. Model player. Model citizen. Not say citizen. Person. Just fantastic. He can be. And we got Hyatt. I don't know if Hyatt's ever going to wind up being any type of huge, humongous threat or anything. But we need another weapon, whether that's a tight end or wide receiver. Right, we need another weapon, and then of course something on it. We got to look on the offensive line. How's the offensive line looking? Is it kind of fixed? But we do need another weapon, right? So, with but this is one stat that the Giants, especially from last year, they really need to improve upon. I mean, it was almost kind of like it was like the first few games of the season. I was jokingly saying to myself, it's like, we putting tight ends on the field? We got running backs in the tight end spot? What? I mean, do we have 35 wide receivers on the field? I was like, where are these catches coming? Do we have anybody catching the ball from the tight end? It was like, I think Johnson it was either 3 catches in the first 4 games, or he had 4 catches in the first 4 games. Something. It was like the tight ends were like missing in action. It's like, we're like losing every game, so we got to be throwing the ball. It's like, where are these tight ends at? So, although Theo was coming on before he got hurt, right? Now, is he ever going to be as shocky? Is he ever going to be as scary as a Waller? Probably not, but he was coming on. But this new stat underscores key area for the Giants offense to improve. Okay? In taking a deep dive into the stats, the New York Giants need to consider getting their tight ends more involved on money down. Because, you could see, my goodness, it's like, the amount of targets that Wandale and Malik got last year was just 300 targets over it between the two of them. It's like, holy crap. I mean, I could see, I ain't got a problem throwing the ball to Malik that many, but, we do need to get, these tight ends more involved. Last season, the Giants finished 27th in the league in third down conversion rate, 35.34%. I mean, you got to be, you want to be well into the 40s. I mean, if you can get a 50%, that's good, really good. While that's a team-owned stat, one position group on the offense that didn't help matters either by design or other circumstances was the tight ends. A statistical analysis by Gridiron Intelligence revealed their data showed that the Giants ranked in the bottom 5 league-wide in both passing to the tight ends and converting on third downs. Using data generated from NFL Savant, of the Giants' 232 third down conversion attempts last year, 180 were pass attempts. And per the football database, while the Giants' tight ends were targeted just 19 times on third down, catching 12 such passes, the actual conversion rate wasn't quite as impressive. Going back to NFL Savant's data, Theo Johnson and Daniel Bellinger both converted just 2 third down pass conversions apiece. Wow. Bellinger's 2 conversions came on plays needing 3 or fewer yards, whereas Johnson's 2 came on third down and needing 6+ yards. Oh, sorry, buddy. That's okay. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. I got to move my legs. Sorry, buddy. You can stay there. You don't have to go. My dog's laying my feet, and I got to move my legs every now and then. Sorry, buddy. Johnson's numbers might have been even better had he not had a couple of plays wiped out by penalties and one misplayed ball sent his way that resulted in an interception. Granted, it didn't help that Johnson missed the final 5 games of the season either with a foot injury. But again, when he was in there, he put that big body and wide catch radius of his combined with way above athleticism. The RAS scores for the Giants tight ends are astronomical, really are. They draft tight ends, but they also draft good athletes. Was above average athleticism to good use in picking up the needed yardage. The key takeaways from this data are that the Giants tight ends were often an afterthought when it came to third down dependability, as New York tended to favor their receivers. The question moving forward is if the Giants, who are likely to go back to assistant head coach, offensive coordinator Mike Kafka as a team play caller this season, get the tight ends a little bit more involved on third down plays. It probably wouldn't hurt to do so, especially if receivers Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Nabers, the 2 most targeted Giants receiving options on third downs last year, draw even more attention this coming season on the money down. I mean, it's huge, absolutely huge. Let's see here. Let's see. They have the stats here now. Wan'Dale, I'm going to say Brown. These are just okay. All right. I was trying to see if they show the stats here. Nothing. Third down. Oh. Select the team. Where the Giants? The Giants. I'm trying to see what kind of stats they have here. Offense, defense, short left. NFL offensive pass breakdown. NFL offensive play breakdown. Short left, short right, short middle, deep left, deep. Wow. Huh. Short left. Deep, short middle. Huh. I think I got some passing breakdowns here and all and everything. Pretty cool. Pretty interesting. New York Giants passing attempt breakdown by down. On third down, they went to the short left 48 times. They went short middle 30 times, and they went short right 58 times. They went deep left 14 times, deep right 14 times. This is on third down. And they went deep middle just 4 times. So a lot of the obviously were out wide. Now that's going to be possibly another one of the things that might wind up happening. The same thing this year too. So you're going wide, right? That's where you got the, not all the time, but that's where sometimes you got your receivers at, right? Because if not, the tight ends have to run out there, right? But it might be the same thing this year because Russell Wilson, doesn't necessarily do a good job passing over the middle. He doesn't. That's not his forte, shall we say? Maybe if he rolls out of the pocket and there's a clear view downfield, then maybe you can target. But because being a shorter quarterback, standing in the pocket with all those giants around you, he has a hard time. That's why he's able to launch something downfield long, right? And he's successful at that. But throwing short over the middle is not his cup of tea, shall we say? So, might be the same thing here. Right, I mean, it could easily be the same thing this year too. They throwing short to the left and to the right as well too. So we'll have to wait and see. But it really would be, I mean, they really have to find ways to get the tight ends more involved. I mean, I said the one thing is just it's like, like what happened to Bellinger? I mean, I know he got injured. I mean, his rookie season was not that bad. He got injured. He had the eye socket. I mean, I don't know if that somehow caused problem in his eyesight. I don't know. But then the next season, of course, Mr. Waller came in. We didn't have Theo Johnson, but Waller came in. So Waller was getting the lion's shares of the targets. So that's why you can see Bellinger took a step backwards. Then last year we drafted Theo Johnson. Theo just stepped right in there and took over the starting job. So he was the starter. Pretty much until he got injured. So it's, I don't know. But also, is it going to be another? We got quite a few of those guys from that 2022 class. Are we going to re-sign any of these guys? We're going to let them go. Bellinger will be one of them, right? We're going to keep Theo, right? Of course, we're going to keep Theo. But I mean, then we're going to re-sign. We got Fedoni, so we got Theo, right, for at least another 3 years. We got Fedoni for another 4, right, or for 4 because we haven't had him yet. 4, so we got these young guys. Are they going to try to bring back Bellinger? Be interesting to say. But whether it's next season, whether it's either in free agency or in the draft, whether it's a tight end or a wide receiver, we really need another weapon, right? And I've seen this. Now, the Giants must improve their injury dilemma. Now, apparently, it got better last season than it had the year before. Okay. But there's, they're still having their problems with the injuries. One thing is that in this one article here, that there's a chart that shows some of the games missed and all that. And, I keep harping on this, once again, good for them. I despise the Eagles. I can't stand them. Respectfully despise them. Basically, because I live about 20, 25 minutes from Philadelphia. Can't stand a Philadelphia fan. Can't stand them. Whether it's the Flyers, Sixers, the Phillies, I can't stand them. I can't despise them. But the one thing is with the Eagles, and once again, I said, good for them. They were the second least injured team on this chart here. Means they didn't miss a lot of games due to injury. And once again, that's one of the reasons you need luck. It helps to have a good team, of course. Right? But right? I mean, if AJ Brown got injured, snapped his ankle, he's out for the season. Saquon tears his ACL. Devontae Smith blows out both of his hamstrings, and let's see, Jalen Hurts breaks both of his arms. How far are the Eagles going? Probably not too far, right? So the guys stay healthy, right? I mean, what did Saquon do a lot with the Giants? He had a couple of seasons where he stayed healthy, but there was also a few seasons where he got injured too, right? But with them, he ran the ball 37,000 times for 5,442 trillion yards, and he didn't get a bad case of jock itch last year. Nothing, absolutely. He didn't even get a cold. Nothing. He was fine, right? With the Giants, the 1 year, he really got held in check in the first game of the season against the Steelers. Week 2 against the Bears, I think his 3rd, 4th, 5th carry, boom, he's out for the season. Right? That didn't happen with the Eagles. Carried the ball 47 trillion times, and bounced up every time. Woo, let's go, baby. I feel great. Woo, I'm an Eagle. Woo, so. Right. But the Giants, they did get a little bit better with the injuries, a little bit better. But, where are we at here? Here we go. All right, so the New York Giants improved their injury dilemma in 2024, but more is needed. So we will have to wait and see. Hopefully, keep your fingers crossed. New York Giants seem to be affected by serious injuries almost every year. Yep. Last year, Kayvon missed 5 games. Dexter Lawrence missed the last 6 weeks with a dislocated elbow. Andrew Thomas went down early in the season, and other players dealt with lesser injuries. Of course, we had 4 quarterbacks in there, 10 offensive line combinations. The list goes on and on and on, right? Not all injuries are created equal, though. Absolutely not. As an example, Kayvon missed 5 games, but Azeez Ojulari stepped in and produced well while Tibbs was out. The same cannot be said for the losses of Lawrence and Thomas, though, who are both integral parts of their respective lines. Despite the big losses in 2024, the Giants ranked just 13th, which is not bad. 13th in adjusted games lost. This comes from Aaron Schatz in an analysis for FTN Fantasy. I don't know who that is, but it's very good information, really good information here. Schatz looked at the injury data for all 32 teams and ranked them based on how impactful the injuries are. Just as we did our old website, I've continued to collect data from the NFL's weekly injury reports with the help of Zach Binney from Emory University and transformed it into adjusted games lost. We also have the data going backwards, covering the entire 21st century. Adjusted games lost doesn't just add up to total injuries. It accounts for both absent players and those players at less than 100%. And it specifically measures injuries to expected starters and important situational players rather than little-used backups. As such, AGL estimates that the impact of injuries on teams and provides a comparable total that often succinctly explains why teams improved or declined from one year to the next. The Giants' 13th overall ranking breaks down to 13th, 28.8. The games lost was 28.8 games lost on offense, and 17th overall, 41.5 on defense. So it was like a grand total of almost like 70 games lost, right? And is a huge step up from their 26th ranking in 2023. So they went from 26th, which is really bad, to 13th, which so they're getting in, they're certainly going in the right direction. If they can get into the top 10, that would be huge. So, however, they still are ways off from being a playoff contender if they can't prevent or at least compensate for injured players. Last year, 6 of the 8 playoff teams had the lowest AGL. Right? Man, sometimes it doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter. You can have the greatest team. You can go and have the fantasy draft. You can take whoever you want at the prime of their career, pluck them out of thin air, and throw them on the field. If you want Jim Brown, prime of his career, right? Running for, 63? 62, Jim Taylor won the rushing title. So it was 63 or 6, might have been 64 when they beat the Colts 27-0 in the championship. Might have been, he ran for 1,800 and some odd yards in 14 games. Yeah, so if you want that, Jim Brown, you pluck him out of thin air, boom, now he's your running back. You can take the greatest center of all time, whoever you want a quarterback in their prime, throw him in there. You grab everybody. The greatest play, you can grab Lawrence Taylor from back in the day, 1986, pluck him out of thin air. Boom, 20.5 sacks. Yeah, now we're talking, baby, the NFL. And you can grab Alan Page, 1971, the NFL, the MVP. He's a defensive player, right, from 1971. You can go back to 1938, pluck Mel Hein out of thin air. Now he's your center. Why? because he was the NFL MVP, center, 1938. Oh my, you got the greatest players in the prime of all time. And if they all get injured, don't mean jack. That's what it means. So, right? It don't matter. I said that, the thing is, you spend all this money on these free agents, you bring these coaches in, and you watch all this film, and you draft the greatest draft class of all time, and you feel that all this, you spend all these trillions and billions and zillions of dollars and hours and all this and all, and one guy gets injured right after the other. Just might as well just don't even bother with the season. The season's over. Don't matter, right? So, to address this problem, the Giants made changes to their strength and conditioning personnel. They added Dr. Matthew Frakes as the director of performance nutrition, promoted Drew Wilson to director of strength and conditioning, and hired Chris Allen and Mark Naylor as assistant strength and conditioning coaches. Strength and conditioning, as well as nutritional programs, might look a little different for the Giants in 2025, but the idea is to keep as many players healthy as possible. Not only the starters, specifically the impact players and the leaders on both sides of the ball, but the bench players have to be available to provide depth. You also have to be able to step in and produce enough to decrease the blow of losing the starter. Injuries cannot be 100% avoided. Absolutely not. Football is a physical game. Yes, it is. The players are aggressive, and competition keeps everyone playing at a high level. However, if the players' bodies are in the best nutritional and condition health possible, injuries that can't be prevented will have less of an impact, not just because of depth, but because those injuries won't be as serious with the body in top shape. There's still work to be done, but it seems Joe Shane's Giants are poised to have a decent season. Now, let me see here if I can share this screen here. If I can share screen, hopefully if I can pop up, that would be fantastic. Because it's got this chart here. There it is. Right. So I'll share this, and it shows you where the Giants are at here. Browser can't access your screen. Try captioning a different screen. Oh, shame. Okay, well, anyway, unfortunately. But see, the Giants, they had lost 28.8 adjusted games lost on offense, right? And 41.5 on defense. So they had a grand total of 70.3, okay, adjusted games lost. The 49ers were the worst. Now, that's why they had one of the best teams in all of football, and they were the worst by far. They lost 141.2 games. The second closest team was the Raiders, 118. So the 49ers were by far. That's why they didn't even make the playoffs. They went to the Super Bowl the year before. They smacked around the Eagles and all that stuff, and they probably could have smacked the Eagles around. Same thing with the Lions. The Lions lost 100 games. 86 and a half games on defense, which is probably the most. Yeah, their defense was totally decimated. Totally decimated, the Lions defense. That's why they lost. They couldn't stop anybody. They stopped the Commanders in the playoffs. Right? That's one of the reasons why they didn't make the championship game. It would have been a great game, but they actually had all their deep. See, they were not lucky. Okay, they totally depleted on defense. The Eagles were lucky. The Eagles had like nobody injured. It's one of the reasons why the Eagles went to the Super Bowl and they won. And other teams, like the 49ers and the Lions, who quite possibly could have beaten the Eagles, didn't go there. 49ers couldn't even make the playoffs because they were so decimated by injuries. And the same thing with the Lions. Lions managed to win and get the number one spot and all that, but because of their defensive injuries, they couldn't make it to the championship game. Right? But I said the Eagles were number 2. The Eagles lost a grand total of 33.7 games. Just the games lost, 33.7. The Ravens were number 1, 16.3. Right? I mean, so you kind of wonder why all these teams, go to the playoffs, right, and do well. That's because they have very good players and they don't have any injuries to speak of. The Eagles lost 11.2 games, adjusted games lost, 11. on their defensive side of the ball, which is like nothing. The Ravens lost 7.7 games lost due to injuries on offense and 8.6 on defense. I mean, nobody was injured. One of the reasons why the Ravens had a very good team and they played well, and they went to the playoffs. So the Giants, certainly took a step in the right direction without question. They were 26th the year before. They went down to 13th. Okay, can we get even better? I'll have to wait and see. It's not something you want to screw around with. Get these guys in best shape possible, nutrition, all that and everything, and hope for the best. But I said, you can have the best of everybody. If they're all injured, they don't, good luck trying to win a football game. Right? Good luck. But I'll tell you what, this one, I talked about Bellinger, you got McFadden, you got Flott, you got Azudu, right? We're going to talk about Mr. Azudu in a little bit here, but this guy here, he's not, hopefully once again, we don't want to be bringing the I word in. We don't want to talk about injuries, right? But if everybody's healthy, right? Of course, we're going to have Newman, right? We're going to have Holland be starting safeties, right? But I'll tell you what, this freaking guy, they said, Chris Carter, all he does is catch touchdown passes. This guy here, I'll tell you what, all he does is find himself to be around the ball. Now, he ain't Troy Polamalu or he ain't Ronnie Lott. He's got some issues. He misses some tackles. His coverage is not maybe always the greatest and all that. But tell you what, when it comes to amount of plays played and amount of what would you say, turnovers that he's had or gotten for the Giants, I tell you, his percentage is rather high. Now, to be fair, I'm going to go over some stats, okay? Now, to be fair, his first play ever, I think was a kickoff return. I think he recovered a fumble against Carolina, but that was special teams. It wasn't on defense, right? So, but the guy finds the ball. Let me tell you what. Let's hope that they, now it's going to take two to tango. Belton could be like, dude, I think I'm pretty good enough to start in this league here. If I sign with the Giants, they want to give me some nice money. That's cool, but I want to play. Let me test the free agency. There's 4 teams out there that could use a safety that I could. If one of those 4 teams comes a call, and I think I might have to go with them. So it's not like the Giants would be bringing them back, right, to be a starter, right? They'd be bringing them back as some good depth, right? But it takes 2 to tango. So, but he's all right. Dane Belton named the New York Giants' biggest offseason surprise. The offseason was full of surprises for the Giants, and most of them were positive in nature. The biggest storylines were the early development and success of rookies such as Jaxson Dart, Abdul Carter, as well as the emergence of third-year wide receiver Jalen Hyatt, who packed on more than 20 pounds. Wow. However, Jordan Renan of ESPN believes that there was one offseason surprise even bigger than those 3. Dane Belton's seemingly relentless ability to generate turnovers. And it was the same thing like in, the mini camps and all that. I know he got his hand on a couple balls as well, too. Earlier this offseason, it appeared as if he was about to become an afterthought following the signing of Javon Holland. But think again, he has been really good for us here early. Like he's had a really good spring, defensive coordinator Shane Bowen said. We're finding ways to get him on the field, what he can do for us to help us. Belton was making plays seemingly every practice this spring. He had 3 interceptions in the 5 workouts open to the media. And, and once again, the ones that are open to the media, I mean, it's going to be very vanilla. I get all that stuff. Right? But you're not allowed to touch the wide receivers and everything. You can't be jamming them and so. Belton was making plays seemingly every practice this spring, right? Even if he's not a starter, it appears that the 4th-round pick in 2022 will have a role as the third safety. Now, there's going to be times, obviously, right, when they want 3 safeties on the field. Maybe put one up in the box, maybe, right? And why not? When he's on the field, he has consistently created turnovers and made plays. Belton was dominant this spring, picking up where he left off in 2024, as Renan notes. Belton hauled in 3 interceptions in a limited number of practices open to the reporters. It was noted that he had at least 1 additional interception during closed practices and returned a total of 2 for touchdowns. Because of his performance during the offseason workout program, those of us at Giants Wire named him one of the offseason's biggest winners. Ball-hawking Belton was at it again all spring, totaling at least 4 interceptions, 2 of which were returned for touchdowns. He's on a path to solidify himself as not only as safety number 3, but as a player who warrants more time on the field alongside Javon Holland and Tyler Nubin. Defensive coordinator Shane Bowen wants Pirates this season, and Belton appears to be one. Now, Belton in his career, okay, now these are just defensives, right? In his career, okay, he's been, let's see, he has 5 interceptions and he has 4 fumble recoveries, right, in the 3 seasons. He's played a grand total now on defense though, right, defense, okay. He's played a grand total at his time 1,155 snaps he's played. Now, maybe I can share this here. Maybe I can share this here. Present, share screen. Where are we at here? There we go, Belton. Let's see if I can share this one here. Cool, here we go. All right, so you'll notice here, in his career on defense, 1,155 career snaps on defense, okay? So why is that important? Well, if he was to play every down like Xavier McKinney did, I think almost a couple of years ago, but Xavier's played well over 1,100 snaps 3 times in his career. Look, even last year with the Packers, 1,125 snaps, Xavier McKinney. 2 years ago, he played every snap on defense for the Giants, 1,128. And his first year, second year, his first year, that's when he was injured. He broke his foot, I think it was. So his second season, he had 1,134 snaps. So Xavier McKinney, okay, has had over 1,100 snaps 3 times in his career. Now, Belton in 3 seasons has played a grand total of 1,155 snaps, okay, which is basically maybe a little bit more than the entire season, but very close to an entire season he's played on. So 1 full season, if he played every snap of every game on defense, he'd have about 1,100 to 1,150 snaps. So he's played just about 1 entire season on defense. He's had 5 interceptions and 4 fumble recoveries. Now, as I said, once again, to be fair, okay, I know the 1 fumble recovery was against Carolina. Now, obviously, for the most part, you're not going to pick a pass off while you're on special teams. It's happened, but not all the time. But I don't know if he's recovered any other fumbles or anything like that on special teams. That I don't know. I do apologize. But in his 3 years, he's recovered 4 fumbles, and he's had 5 passes he's picked off. Let's see. And he forced 1 fumble. Okay. So he's had 2 sacks in his career. Right. So if we take his defensive number, he's played just about 1 entire season, right? If you look at it, he had 2 sacks. Okay, yeah. But he's been responsible for 9 turnovers, 5 interceptions, and realize too that the Giants' entire defense last year had 5 interceptions. So the guy, I mean, as we see here, right? as we see, especially in 2022, his first season, right? Yeah, these numbers were not super spectacular. But you also look at it too, right? Is that, we had Wink Martindale in there. Some guys played better under Wink, some guys did not, right? So maybe Belton thrives or maybe a little bit better under Bowen's defense. Because if you look here, last season with Belton, he had 460 snaps, the most snaps he ever played on defense, right? A lot of that was also because Newman got injured, right? So he took the place of Newman. So if you notice here, right? He played a lot of these snaps in the last 5 weeks, right? Against Nolans, 40, 59, 60, 77. That's when Newman was injured, right? So he played a bunch of snaps toward the end, okay? But if you look, he's slowly gotten better as the years go by. 32.8 his first year by PFF, 51.7 last year, graded out of 63. Okay, his tackle. I mean, he's had a couple. There's one season here he didn't do very well at tackling. Once again, that was maybe with Wink's defense. Who knows? But last year, some solid numbers. Defense overall 63. His run defense was 64.4. His tackling is 72.6, and his coverage was 61.3. Okay. Where we at here? Now he does. Last season, he was targeted 28 times. Right? I think that's right. Yeah, targeted. He was targeted 28 times. He gave up 20 receptions, 71.4. So 11.3 yards of reception. Now, also, he's a safety. So he's not necessarily always standing on the line of scrimmage jamming a guy. So a lot of times he's covering somebody. The guy's already run down the field. So he's given up 11.3 yards per reception. He did give up 3 touchdowns, but he got the 1 reception. But out of the 20 receptions, he gave up 3 of them went for touchdowns. So, but you also notice too, these were at some of these were at the end of the season, right? Where he's playing, right? That's when he was playing full time too. But so I mean, it's going to be interesting. Going to be interesting to see. He's certainly somebody to want to keep an eye on. I mean, if we can, we don't have a ton of money next season. We have money to spend, and we can always free up money somewhere along the line. But it's going to be interesting to see because we got some guys, that we, that in that 2022 class, some of these guys, we're going to keep them. We're going to want to let them go, right? But if we're going to keep them, like Micah McFadden, obviously, going to cost you a little bit of money. They ain't getting $10, $15 million a year, but right. Same thing with Belton. We're going to bring back Flott, Bellinger, So we got some guys we might be resigning, but. If we can bring back Belton, boy, that would be a nice 3-headed monster. Sign him for a 3-year contract or something like that. Once again, it always winds up coming down to it takes 2 to tango. I mean, if he thinks it's I don't know, man. I think I can play. I really did good last year, 2024. I mean, I got all these turnovers, this, that, and the other thing. I know there's 4 or 5 teams out there that could use a safety. One of them comes a calling. I think I might have to pick the phone up and, because I want to play. Because if he signs with the Giants, he's pretty much relegating himself to be coming off the bench. So we'll have to wait and see. But, boy, if we can re-sign him, man, that would be fantastic. I would love that. And, of course, then I seen this one here, right? So we got 2 Giants. I want to try to ride off into the sunset, play maybe one more season, maybe, retire as a Giant. Once a Giant, always a Giant, right? And all that. Of course, OBJ. I did something on OBJ. Malik Nabers was, saying stuff like we got some unfinished business here and all of that, which would be cool. But I don't know. I mean, one thing is he would be cheap, whatever. Pretty damn close to whatever. I mean, it would probably be the veteran minimum. Plus, maybe throw some incentives at him. You can be worth up to $5 million if you get this, and this. But you don't really know what else you have on the roster. We got a bunch of undrafted free agents we brought in. Is he going to be any better than any of those guys? Don't know. The one thing he would do is he would certainly get some. Get the fan base a little excited, bringing them back, right? And maybe after this season, if we were to retire, he could retire a Giant or something like that. But I don't see them bringing back Odell Beckham. And the same thing with JPP. Apparently he also needs, I think he has nine, in this one article I'm going to read, he has like 94 and a half career sacks. I'd like to get 100 would be a cool number. So that means he would need 5.5 sacks. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he hasn't played. What's it say in this article here? I know it's. That definitely says, what last time he played. Pierre-Paul, former All-Pro edge rusher, was not with the team in 20. So he wasn't even with a team last year. But he wants to, 10 years removed. It was 10 years, basically, from this day, 10 years ago, right? From the fireworks accident that cost him 2.5 fingers, edge rusher JPP is eyeing a return to the NFL, though he did not find his way on a roster last season. The 36-year-old JPP told ESPN he has been training and staying in football shape with the hope of earning an opportunity. Specifically, he would love the chance to make his way back to the Giants, where he spent 8 seasons after they selected him in the first round of the 2010 draft. I think that'll be dope. Tremendous, JPP said, to go back somewhere where my career started. The fans know me and know the type of player that I am. I'll always be that type of player and just give them everything I got, which I know it'll be more than enough. JPP earned his first of his 2 Super Bowl rings with the Giants in 2011, because don't forget he also won one when they with the Bucs when they beat the Chiefs. So was it 31-9 or 30-9? He was named first team All-Pro that same season after logging a career high 16.5 sacks. He was a mainstay on the Giants' defensive line until 2015, when on July 4th, a mishap while lighting fireworks damaged his right hand. Pierre-Paul was able to return to the field in November of that same year and remained with New York through the 2017 season. But, the thing is the amount of time that he missed, right? If he didn't miss, where are we at here? Have I got him here? No. But if he didn't miss like 5, 6, 7, 8 games that year, heck, he might have another 3 or 4 sacks. He might be like only 1 sack or so away from getting 100 if he didn't miss all that time. Right? But it is what it is. Giants traded JPP to the Bucs in 2018. He reached 12.5 sacks in his first season with the Bucs and won a second Super Bowl with the franchise in 2020. Pierre-Paul was last in the NFL in 2023 when he appeared in 1 game with the Saints and 2 games with the Dolphins. So, really, if he only played 3 games, that's. But in Yahoo, right, also got here, right, former Super Bowl champion wants to return to the Giants, and this is what they say here, and it's all about hitting one absurd milestone in his career. Former Super Bowl champion wants to return to the Giants, and it's about hitting one absurd milestone in his career. Originally appeared on A to Z Sports. 100 career sacks is considered to be an elite milestone for an NFL pass rusher. Former New York Giants standout JPP is close. He currently owns 94.5 career sacks. As he recently told ESPN, he'd love to get to the triple-digit mark, and the chance to secure the milestone with his former team would add a little bit of extra sweetness to the occasion. The challenge, of course, is that players signing are 2-way streets. JPP hasn't logged a sack since 2022, and it's been since 2021 that he's logged the combined number of sacks that he currently needs. But that isn't stopping JPP from daydreaming about a fairy tale ending to his long accomplished and inspiring NFL career. JPP has his eyes set on 100 sacks and the Giants. I think rejoining the Giants would be dope, tremendous, to go back somewhere where my career started, the fans know me, and blah, 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 blah. As far as the Giants' potential interest, things would have to likely go very wrong in some fashion for New York's edge rush room in 2025 for JPP to get a call. Never mind log the 5.5 sacks he needs to reach 100 for his career. We got, you can even put Golston out there too, maybe, right? If right? I mean, but we got Carter, Kayvon, Bernsey, Golston. I mean, you know, New York edge room should be considered one of the strengths of the program, thanks in large part to newcomer Abdul Carter at the top of the 2025 draft to join Bernsey, Kayvon, and Chauncey Golston. I mean, that's a nice foursome there. Nice. Golston has the ability to reduce and rush inside, too. But with a heavyweight top three pass rushers on a depth chart, it's hard to imagine the interest of JPP being reciprocal. Instead, Giants fans should hope to see him get the call and chance to play elsewhere to get the sacks he needs for triple digits. That is, of course, so long as those 5.5 sacks aren't coming against the Giants, of course. That's true. So I got one more here, but I think it's pretty much the same thing. He reflects on the accident that changed his life. He said, I wouldn't want my kids to go through something I went through. I learned from it, JPP told ESPN in a phone conversation last week. At the end of the day, I'm a big person, but this happened to me. It could happen to anybody. So put it out there. What's to be embarrassed about? There's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's just you live and you learn from it. JPP was lighting fireworks he'd purchased from a neighborhood party in Deerfield Beach, Florida, that Independence Day evening in 2015. He was having trouble lighting the last batch, and when it finally discharged, it was at the cost of JPP's right hand, 2.5 fingers. Wow. He remembers being on the verge of fainting. Whew. Because he was losing so much blood while being driven by a friend to a nearby Broward Health North Hospital. After seeing the insides of his hand under the light inside the hospital, he told doctors, don't cut my hand off. JPP had his right index finger amputated. Despite wondering whether his Giants career was over, he managed to return for 8 games in the 2015 season. Now, you figure also with a little net. You figure, if he didn't have that happen to him, it is what it is, right? If he had use of all his fingers, didn't miss any time because it was all wrapped up and everything, right? Maybe he might have got another 5.5 sacks that season. Who knows? Let's see. He played 2 more seasons in New York, logging a total of 16.5 sacks in the 3 years that followed his injury. In absolutely no way did we think he would play, former Giants Vice President Player personnel Mark Ross said. He's a medical marvel, really. JPP went on to have a double-digit sack season in 2018 with the Bucs, despite the limitations from the hand. Already owning a ring with the Giants, he won a second Super Bowl ring. So, wound up having a really good career. It just, certainly would not have, help the Giants, win another Super Bowl. That's for darn sure. But good for him, man. He wound up, he's got himself 2 different rings with 2 different teams, and his 94.5 sacks, career sacks. Now, as I said, it is what it is. But if he had not had that happen to him, if he played the whole season, didn't have this wrapped up and all that stuff and everything, maybe he might have gotten his extra 5.5 sacks that one season, and now he's sitting at 100. Then he could retire. But the thing is, he didn't play. He didn't play last year, and in 2023, he played 3 games. It's the chances of him coming back and making any type of an impact. Yeah, it's kind of slim. But then also, I said it takes 2 to tango, right? The Giants, they're the depth that they have at edge is really pretty good. One of the best in the NFL, so for them to want JPP is, it would be nice. It would be a cute little story. Same thing if they brought, OBJ back. But, are they going to be better than the guys that we have on the roster? Probably not. They would sell more tickets. They would get more fans excited or whatever like that. But would they make the team better? Probably not. So, I've got this article here I read. 2 areas that Jaxson Dart has improved. Now, improving in camp, right? and improving in when the bullets are flying live. It's two different things, But it's nice, it's nice to hear, something positive, right? But let's not forget. So today's July 4th, the 15th. So not this Tuesday, right? 15th, 4th. Not this Tuesday, the following Tuesday. That's when 4th, right? 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Yeah. It's like a little over a week and a half. And then the rookies show up. Then they got a little over 2.5 weeks, and then everybody's there. So then it's on. Woo! Woo! Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, here. So the NFL Insider reveals two critical areas where New York Giants quarterback Jaxson Dart has progressed. Progressed, not regressed. Jaxson Dart's transformation to the NFL is off to a strong start. So, and nothing would get this fan base. Obviously, there's for the most part, really good chance we ain't going to no Super Bowl, right? Okay, but nothing would get this fan base all juiced up, right? More than maybe seeing a dart sighting, whatever it is, later in the season, whatever, and he does okay. You can see where there's, we might have something here, And also, if Abdul Carter is all that in a bag of Doritos, if he's, and we got a nice, it's sexy and all that stuff, it'd be really, fantastic. As I keep saying it too all the time, is that, what we have with sexy, as good as he is, it just be a shame because it is what it is, and you can only do so much and all that stuff and everything. But you don't want to finally get it. We got a team, and Dexter's on his way down. It's going to be a 7th season. It's a violent sport. He plays a decent amount of snaps. He gets his rest and all that stuff and everything. But he ain't going to play forever. Lawrence Taylor didn't play forever. These guys don't play forever, right? This will be a 7th season now. Maybe he might play 10, 11 seasons. Who knows? Maybe we might get another 3 really good seasons from him. Who knows? But, it'd be a shame if by the time he starts going his way down, the Giants got a good team. It'd be a shame to, as good as he is, boy, you want to really take advantage of that while you got the chance. Where we at here? Oh. On there. You know what I did? I got. There we go. I got so many of these tabs, and I wound up sliding one over, and I can't even find it. All right. Giants rookie quarterback Jaxson Dart might not be on track to be the team starter anytime soon this season, but the progress he's made since walking into the team's East Rutherford, New Jersey headquarters has been quite impressive. Insider Jeremy Fowler, appearing on SportsCenter last weekend, revealed that there are 2 key areas in which Dart has made particularly rapid progress. I was told from somebody with the team that late in OTAs, things finally started to click for Dart as far as the mental portion of the game, learning the cadence, what Brian Daboll wants out of the offense, decision-making, Fowler said, as reported on 3. I guess that's somebody's podcast. He carried that over into minicamp. Indeed, Dart did look rather comfortable with running the offense. He primarily worked with the second-team offense, but did receive an occasional sprinkling of first-team reps. And although the showing wasn't perfect in those practices open to the media, there certainly appeared to be more good than bad. Of note, head coach Brian Daboll has thrown a lot at Dart, with honestly, yeah, as he always does, with some of it being at random to measure the rookie's response. Again, while not always pristine in execution, nothing has seemed to rattle the former Ole Miss signal caller when he's been handed the reins of the offense. I feel like I've made tremendous strides, especially from my first day to now. just being able to understand the pictures of the offense and whatnot, Dart told reporters at the mandatory minicamp. Obviously, I have dived into a lot more, but I'm just trying to take it to the next level over the summer. Just lock in, hone in on as much as I can throughout this time. So that way, when I get back for training camp, I'm on an even better level than I am now. Giants are taking their time with Dart. The good news for Dart is that there is no rush or deadlines placed on him to be ready to take over the offense, as the coaches are just allowing the rookie to develop organically, a point Fowler emphasizes as well. Look, they're taking it slowly. This is not a situation where he's going to be thrust into action early, he said. They have Russell Wilson ready to go, but they feel like Dart established himself in two areas. He's a quick learner, and he's highly motivated. All right, I like that. As of now, Dart doesn't have to play this year if he's not ready, as the Giants have ensured a layer of reinforcement at quarterback by signing both Russell Wilson and Jameson Winston to begin the season as quarterbacks number 1 and number 2, respectively. The plan with Dart is the same approach that Dable and general manager Joe Shane took in Buffalo with Josh Allen, except that because they didn't have the added layer that Winston offers, Allen had to play a little bit earlier than planned, and everything worked out well there. Plans can certainly change, though, and if Dart shows he's ready to go in there, there's no reason to have him continue to sit on the bench, right? However, it currently appears that the Giants are a long way off from making that decision, at least not until they see Dart take some live reps at the NFL level this summer. So, I mean, it's going to wind up being, let's see, it's certainly going to wind up being, very, very interesting to see. There we go. What, okay. Certainly going to be very interesting to see where he winds up, how he does, and especially in those exhibition games, right? And, if we wind up, as I said, but if we wind up starting, I'm not tanking, but, if we wind up, 3-8, we got 11 games, we got 6 games left or something like that. It's like, our season's kind of, pretty much over. Let's put Dart in there or something, Give us something to get excited about. And I said, because Eli started off 0-6, and that one game that he played against the Ravens was just absolutely horrendous. I can't remember what the score was. It was just ungodly horrible. But they were invaluable to him. And I said, what wound up happening was he wound up with the we were down. What the hell were we down? I think it was 24-21, I think it was. And the Giants were going for the win. But we had the ball. We had the ball about 2 minutes to go or so. And Eli marches down the field. And one thing we got down like the 2-yard line or 3-yard line or so. And it was under 30 seconds or so, whatever, to go in the game. And I think they called a pass, and he comes up to the line of scrimmage. Boom, he calls it off, right? He calls a draw play to Tiki, right? Gets the ball, turns around, hands it off to Tiki. Tiki runs in for a touchdown. We wound up winning 28-24. So those reps that he got were valuable, right? We tanked. We were 5-4 in 2004, still in a playoff, position, but they pulled the plug on the season, right? Threw Eli in there, basically tanked the rest of the season, but they got some valuable reps for Eli, and of course the result wound up being, in the long run, 2 Super Bowl trophies. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, then we got here. Now, I've seen as the Giants possibly, could thinking about, I got nope. Possibly thinking about Jaxson Dart. Nope. All right, I had. Oh wait, hold on. Here we go. Possibly thinking about cutting a couple guys. Obviously, one of them, unfortunately, is because he's injured. And it's a shame, but injuries happen to everybody, right? So where are we at here? Giants are predicted to cut 2025 a free agent signing after his injuries. It's a shame, but Giants could have one of the more dominant edge rushing rotations in the NFL this season, but by a byproduct of their depth is that recent 2025 signing Victor Dimukeje could be cut. When Dimukeje first inked a deal with the Giants back in March, he served as an immediate replacement for free agent departure Azeez Ojulari. But as the offseason went on, Big Blue ended up having Penn State phenom Abdul Carter fall into their laps in the draft. And it also appears that fellow free agent pickup Chauncey Golston will be utilized as an edge rusher too. Didn't help that Dimukeje suffered a torn pectoral in early May that sidelined him for all of spring activities. For these reasons, Big Blue beat reporter Ed Valentine predicted that Dimukeje would be the odd man out at the roster cutdown following training camp in the preseason. In my initial projection, I listed Golston as a defensive lineman. Valentine reasoned on June 19th. Continuing, he is wearing number 57 and working with the edge defenders. Though I do think that Golston will get moved around to a variety of spots during the season. Dimukeje, with his pectoral, did not practice all spring. Finally speaking, it would not make sense to cut Golston. You ain't cutting Golston. We just signed a 3-year, $18 million. You ain't cutting Golston. Absolutely not. So you're not going to cut Golston over Dimukeje. So that's not happening. And we know Carter, Burns, and Kayvon aren't going anywhere unless the latter is traded. No, it's not happening either. That means keeping Dimukeje would mean keeping a fifth edge rusher for his special teams value. While this is certainly possible for his special teams value, Dimukeje's early injury puts him way behind schedule in making the roster. Dimukeje's injury could save his roster chances. There is a world where Dimukeje's injury actually saves him from getting cut by the Giants, but it would require him sitting out all training camp and the preseason. In this scenario, the Giants could then transfer Dimukeje to the PUP list and keep him with the organization at the roster cutdown following the new injury rules. But there were some rumblings that the free agent addition could return for training camp. While that's good news for Dimukeje overall, it could actually make it more difficult for him to stick with the team. Having said that, as an athlete, you always want the opportunity to play and prove yourself, and Dimukeje won't hold up his recovery timeline just to sneak onto the roster, onto an injury list. Once Dimukeje returns, his best chance of making the roster is a core special teamer. According to Pro Football Reference, the outside linebacker has logged 838 snaps on defense and 943 snaps on special teams throughout his tenure with the Cardinals. Dimukeje also graded out very well in the special teams department on Pro Football Focus, earning marks over 70 in each season from 2022 to 2024. And you grade out over 70 on special teams. That's very good. Very good. During his best graded campaign on special teams, Dimukeje was graded with 3 solo special teams tackles and 1 tackle assist. He has been credited with 11 solo special team tackles and 5 assists compared to 4 missed special team tackles over his 4-year career. It's not just Dimukeje that the Giants brought in on special teams. Their backup linebackers are well-versed in the special teams department too, making this an undoubtedly competitive roster battle this summer. Oh, yeah. Valentine chose to cut inside linebackers and potential special Flanagan Fowles. We're going to talk about Ty Summers, Deontay Johnson, and most recently the 53-man roster projection. So, but Ty Summers is another guy who can get cut too. All right, so then there's 2 Giants can cut 2 former draft picks this summer. Now, one of them they're talking about is Joshua Zudo. Now the thing is, it's kind of hard because it's like something they put him at tackle, then they got him at guard, and it just doesn't seem like he always works out really well at guard. At tackle. So, and we got a lot of guys that are going to be battling for that right guard position. Zudo will be one of them. We'll have to wait and see. But, you're only going to keep so many. They brought in a plethora of guys. And now that Marcus Bowe is on the roster as well, too. I mean, unless somebody winds up getting injured, it's always a possibility in training camp. Right? I mean, you got maybe Neal might make. I mean, you're only going to have like 8 guys, maybe 9 at the most on the active roster on the 53. Then they'll put a couple on the practice squad. But you got 8, maybe 9. So, I mean, you got Thomas, right? Bowe ain't going nowhere, right? John Michael Schmitz, you got Runyon, right? You got Luminor. Maybe, I have a hard time seeing him cut Neal. You know what I mean? So it's like, we got so many other guys, ton of other guys. GVR, I mean, be shocked if he doesn't make the roster. He may not, but I mean, so we got him. That would be like 7 guys. I mean, so is there going to be room for Zudu? So Zudu struggling to justify his roster spot when the Giants selected Zudu in the 3rd round. So you draft a guard, guard/tackle, whatever, in the 3rd round. You have visions of this dude either being a starter or being a backup, a contributor. They envision a versatile offensive lineman. At just 25, he still has time. He's only 25, too. But his play suggests otherwise. Over 738 career snaps, Zudu has allowed 42 pressures and 10 sacks. Wow. Those are ugly numbers for a player once expected to stabilize the trenches and develop into at least a reliable swing tackle. Now, it can also be, the Giants have not had the greatest offensive line coaches, right? I mean, if you got a real good offensive line coach, guess what? The Zudu may not be a bad player. Right, but we got so many we got the offensive line coaches coming in. Finally, we got a guy for 2 years in a row, which would be helpful. Okay, but ever since Judge took over, remember Mark Colombo? Remember he had a fight with Judge and all that stuff. And then we had the Googe in here. We had was it Sale? Or what? I mean, we've had guys coming and going. Right, haven't had the same guy in there for multiple. I mean, somebody good for multiple years in a row, right? So let's see, maybe I don't know. Zudu can step up this year. We'll have to wait and see. Last season alone, he surrendered 15 pressures and 2 sacks on just 182 snaps. That's bad numbers, with 3 costly penalties. Most of that damage came at left tackle, where his technique simply fell apart under speed rushers. I mean, he has a hard time at the tackle. No sign of Zudu locking down a future role. Giants hope the Zudu could be that Swiss Army knife stepping in across the line when injuries hit. Instead, he's shown neither the strength to consistently hold that up inside nor the footwork to survive on the edge. If there isn't a massive leap in training camp, there's a very real chance Zudu finds himself cut before September. But I'll tell you what, I can almost assure you, if he gets cut, he's going to go on another team, and just the way like some of these other guys do, like Matt Pert, right? He's now with the Broncos, not doing too bad, right? So I can always see somebody picking him up, right, and making something of him where the Giants couldn't. Then they talk about Trey Hawkins possibly getting cut. Fighting long odds to stick around. Trey Hawkins always faced steep odds. 6th-round picks aren't often long shots, and the Giants grabbed the corner from Old Dominion in 2023. Now he's 24. Hawkins has logged 428 defensive snaps, giving up 390 yards and 3 touchdowns in coverage. He's shown glimpses with an interception and 3 pass breakups, but not enough to stand out in the crowded secondary. More concerning, Hawkins hasn't carved out a meaningful role on special teams, which is not good. It's not good. You got. I mean, if you're going to be a backup, you better, especially. I mean, unless you're, whatever. I don't know. Unless you're like a 6'8", 900-pound defensive tackle or something like that, you're not really going to carve yourself out of special teams role. But I mean, if you're a cornerback, man, you better love you some special teams. You know what I mean? If they're going to put you on, if you're not a starter, you better be you better be really good at special teams. Well, he really hasn't carved himself out a role. That's not good. If you're not a lockdown corner and can't contribute on coverage units, your days tend to be numbered in the NFL. Giants can't afford to be sentimental with roster construction, especially with so many young players needing snaps. Brian Dable and Joe Shane have been ruthless when it comes to trimming that fat, and Azuda and Hawkins could be next. For all the excitement each pick once brought on draft day, their tape paints a bleaker picture, making it hard to justify keeping them. It's like hoping a plant you forgot to water suddenly flourishes. The foundation often matters more than late efforts to save it. Hey, what's up, buddy? As training camp looms, both Joshua Azuda and Trey Hawkins III are teetering on the edge of the Giants' plans. Unless they flash dramatic improvement, expect Shane and Dable to look elsewhere for depth, especially with this roster needing reliable backups. So I'll have to wait and see. Hey, that's why you got training camp, right? Anything can happen. But especially for Hawkins, I mean, if he was just such a dynamo, right, on special teams, this guy, he's all right. He's okay. It's a couple. But I'll tell you what, this guy is, as a gunner or something like, man, if he's lights out on special teams, we got to keep this guy. We got to find a way to keep this guy on the roster. But that hasn't happened. And that's not, that's not good. It's a shame, but because I tell you what, there was a time, what I think it was the first year we got him, right? I got him out of Old Dominion, and there was some times in training camp, man, he was looking phenomenal. He was like all the rave, and there was a couple videos. He was like on guys like white on rice. It was amazing how he was covering guys, our own guys, in training camp. And then the regular season rolled around, and things were a little bit different. So it is what it is. I mean, I hate losing guys, draft picks, and all that stuff and everything, but it's the NFL. It is what it is. But once again, nobody's cut yet, right? So we'll have to wait and see. And then finally, we got here, right? The Giants. I tell you what, man, they just don't get no love, right? Now, to be fair, there's an article here that ranked the top 25 teams from this century, Super Bowl champions. And no surprise here, the Giants had top 25 teams ranked, top 25 Super Bowl winning teams, right? I mean, 1 is the best, 25 is the worst. The Giants 2 Super Bowl, right? Super Bowl 42 and 43. They were ranked 24th and 25th. They were the worst 2 winning Super Bowl teams in Super Bowl history in the 21st century. So it is what it is. Hold on. We'll be right back. Good morning. All right. I do apologize. The cat was hungry. I had to feed him. All he was doing was meowing. So instead of trying to talk for the next 15 minutes and hear my cat meowing in the background, I fed my cat. So I do apologize. So, but the Giants were ranked the 21st century. They're the worst 2 Super Bowl winning teams. Now, to be fair, right? You got I mean, there's no comparison, comparing the 2007 Giants to the Eagles from last season. The Eagles last season were like 14-3. They won, great team. I mean, so they were high on the list, right? So there's other teams, obviously, like the 2000 Ravens were up there, But I mean, to be fair, right? The Giants, I mean, in what was it? In 2007, they lost the first 2 games. They got annihilated. Then they won 6 games in a row. Then they lost 4 games in a row. I mean, they were like back and, they were not a phenomenal team, right? During the regular season. In the playoffs, yeah. I mean, they played 8 playoff games, I believe it was, and they wound up, 7 of the 8 were on the road, right? They won a championship game in Green Bay. They won a championship game in San Fran. They beat Tom Brady 2 times. They beat the undefeated Patriots 18-0 Patriots, and it make them 18. I mean, so. But in the playoffs, the Giants turned it on and were special. But during the regular season, I mean, it was the same thing with the 2011. They weren't nothing super duper special. They just, them and Eli, turned it on right at the right time. But, but the Giants were not ranked very high. Where did the Giants? There. Giants 2 Super Bowl teams ranked as the worst of the 21st century. Where did the Giants Super Bowl 42 and 46 teams rank among the 25 teams that have won the big game since 2000? Because there's been 25 teams since 2000, right? They ranked 24th and 25th. That's where. In a recent listing from Bleacher Report, the Giants' 2 upset victories over Tom Brady and Bill Jackson New England Patriots don't measure up to the rest of this century's other NFL championships. Well, but because what they're doing is they're ranking, the championships, but they're also ranking the team during the regular season too. Like I said, the Giants were not super phenomenal during this season. They were a better team in 2008 than they ever were in 2011, 2007 during the regular season. Of course, then Plexico shoots himself in the leg, and basically, all heck broke loose after that, right? But 2008, the Giants were a fantastic team. So the 2011 Giants were ranked as the 25th. They were ranked as the worst Super Bowl winning team this century. The pros were they were behind a legendary pass rush. They dethroned the Patriots for the second time in a 4-year span. But the cons, they were the only team on this list with just 9 regular season wins. Right? Every other team that won the Super Bowl in this century had at least 10 wins during the regular season. Giants barely won the division. It came down to the final game of the season. They lost to the Cowboys. I think they got knocked out. The Cowboys would have won the division, but the Giants wound up winning 28-24. So. And then it had a negative scoring margin, too. They were -6 during the regular season. So they were nothing special at all during the regular season. Despite that pass rush, only the 2018 Patriots gave up more yards per play, 5.62 yards per play. And JPP was the only first-team All-Pro. So I said they were not super spectacular that season. Then the 24th ranked team to win a Super Bowl this century was the 2007 Giants. The pros, that they slayed the Patriots is one of the biggest upsets in NFL history. I have to agree with that. But the cons, they were the only one win better than the 2011. They were 10-6. And their plus 22 regular season scoring margin ranks second last among the 25 teams. The plus 22 regular scoring margin, plus 22. I mean, it's horrible. Horrible. They were 10-6, and they were at plus 22. So they were also a horrendous 1-5 against teams with winning records. And they outscored their 4 playoff opponents by just 20 total points. They had just 1 Pro Bowler, O.C. Umenyiora, and no first-team All-Pros. They just, it's, I mean, so what that would be telling me they outscored their 4 playoff opponents by just 20 points. So that would be telling me that the 72 Dolphins was just straight up trash. Why? Because they had a block a punt against the Cleveland Browns in their one playoff game, and they won by 6 points. Then they won by 4 points to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then they won by just 7 points to the Washington Redskins. So what is that? What is that? 6, 4. So they won by 17 points in their 3 playoff wins. That means that means the 72 Dolphins are just straight up trash. Yeah, I don't think so. But see, they say they outscored their 4 playoff opponents by 20 total points, but they don't fail to mention that all 4 of those games were on the road. Right? We won in Tampa Bay. We won in Dallas. We won in Green Bay, Lambeau Field, right? And we beat the Patriots. I mean, I guess neither team was home there. But we beat the 18-0 Patriots. No love for that. It's hard to argue with some of the cons here. The Giants were not dominant in the regular season either year. No, they weren't. The Super Bowl behind 2 incredible postseason runs. But they played just one of those 8 postseason games at home, which was omitted from these rankings. Among the victories were wins in Dallas. Dallas was a good team in 2007. Green Bay, Packers were a good team. And let's not forget, and in San Francisco, they won 2 times in Green. And the game they won in Green Bay was 15-1. I think they were 15-1, 14-2 or something like that. And they totally killed the Packers. And if it wasn't for a bogus bull call, roughing the passer on an absolute bull call on roughing the passer on Aaron Rodgers that wound up giving him another touchdown, the Giants would have totally killed them this game. Killed the Packers in the 2011 playoffs. But that's it. So we got here, all right? So we got the rankings. So the number 1 team, and it pops up here, was where we at? It was the Patriots. I think it was here. The 2004 Patriots. They're one of just 3 14-2 teams on this list, alongside with 2 other Patriot squads, and ranked 3rd in scoring margin of plus 177. They went 7-1 against winning teams, pulled off 6 fourth-quarter comebacks, and dusted the Colts and Steelers en route to their 3rd championship in 4 years. So it's hard to argue with that. The 2013 Seattle Seahawks, tough. I mean, it was at 40-8. They beat Peyton Manning and the Broncos 40-8. I mean, it's hard to argue with that. Then the 2016 Patriots, number 5 was the 2009 Saints. Hard to argue with that. Number 7 was the 2002 Buccaneers. They were a phenomenal team. Well, I mean, the defense was unbelievable. The 2000 Ravens were number 8. So I mean, it's hard to argue. I mean, once again, I mean, it's a lot of times when it comes to the Giants, right? Giants get no love, period. But it's hard to argue. What they're doing is with these Super Bowl winning teams, as I said, is that they're taking the regular season and the postseason, combining it all together. Now if they did just postseason, they took the Super Bowl winning teams postseason, right? Giants wouldn't be 24, or if they were, I wouldn't even bother reading it. It wouldn't be. But they're taking the regular season. As I said, the Giants were not super spectacular in 2007 or 2000. Said they were far better in 2008 than they ever were in 2007 or 2000. I said 2011. Let's see. I think they had I think it was 28-14. That's a 2011 New York Giants. They had to win the final game of the season against the Cowboys. They were 9-7. So they were 8-7 going into the final game of the season against the Cowboys. 31-14. I'm sorry. It was January 1st. It was the final game of the season, Sunday night. So 8:30 at night, January 1st, New Year's Day, against the Cowboys. The Cowboys, I think, were 8-7 as well, too. Whoever won, I mean, that just goes to show you how crappy the division was. The Cowboys and the Giants were tied at first. Both were 8-7. So after the Cowboys lost, I think the Cowboys were I guess they were 8-8. Yeah, they were 8-8. Each division. So they were in third. So who else? Standings. The Eagles were 8-8 too. The Giants were 9-7. The Eagles were 8-8. The Cowboys were 8-8. And then the Redskins, because they were Redskins back then, were 5-11. The division was horrible. But the Giants went on the road. They beat the Packers, who were 15-1. They beat the 49ers, who were 13-3, right, on the road. And of course, then they beat the Patriots, who were 13-3 as well. So we beat two 13-3 teams and a 15-1 team. But that was during the playoffs. During the regular season, we gave up 400 points. We scored 394. We gave up 400 points. We were -6 in the point turnover. I mean, that's horrible. That's horrible. And if we would have lost that game, see, nobody, the Eagles didn't make the playoffs. The Cowboys didn't make the playoffs. Whoever won that game won the division and went to the playoffs. Whoever lost, bye-bye. So it just happened. The game was at home. Giants played the game at home. The Giants wound up winning. The Giants were ahead. Let's see here. I'm going to pop down. Okay, the Giants went way ahead, and then the Cowboys started coming back. It was like, what was it here? We got here. The Giants were up 21-0. Cowboys scored to make it 21-7. Cowboys scored again to make it 21-14. And then finally, Lawrence Tynes kicked the field goal to put us up by 2 scores, 24-14. And then about 2 minutes later, Hakeem Nicks got a 4-yard touchdown pass from Eli Manning to seal the deal. So the Giants were only 9-7 that year. Not very impressive. I said, and the same thing with the 2017. We lost our first 2 games, right? We had that goal line stand against the Redskins, because they were Redskins back then. We wound up winning like 6 in a row. I think we were 6-2. We're like, man, here we go, baby. And then we lost the next 4, and we're 6-6. It's like, what the, you know what I mean? So we had to win some tough games there at the end, right? But, so we were not super spectacular in either year. So it's really, really hard to argue with either one of those. You know what I mean, because if you take the regular season and the postseason, combine them together, I mean, it's hard to argue that the Giants, the 24th and 25th best teams to win a Super Bowl this century. All right, guys, it's been 1 hour and 48 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from Bob Hart. It means the world to me as always. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants! Woo! Oh, yeah.